goodness. I'm out here cleaning up. I'm gonna try and clean up some of these hanging leaves on the kale. Because we're supposed to get freezing temperatures tonight, below freezing temperatures. So I guess I'm gonna try and get the poly low tunnel on this bed of kale and this bed of carrots. It's a little earlier than I expected because usually in October we get a lot of rain, but we're getting these clear days, and so kind of earlier than I expected I'd have to do this. And one thing that I'm finding, or I'm realizing with this kale variety, this Siberian kale, is that it's really kind of floppy, and which is going to make it hard for me to get the row cover, you know. And I'm also seeing like another flush of caterpillars in all the kale. It's like this time of year, like they're hatching out already or whatever, like another batch of them or something. The ground is too hard to just push these hoops in, so I'm gonna have to do something. Okay, so I've got this little piece of metal pipe. I'm just jamming in the ground, and then I can kind of push the hoops in. Get any kind of wind, it's gonna blow this plastic right off of here, but this is just temporary because I've got some bigger plastic and I can pin it down a little bit better, but I'm waiting for bigger hoops so that I can almost kind of, the new system would be something I can almost kind of crouch through rather than this kind of low tunnel, because man, I hate low tunnels. But anyway, let's go look in the greenhouse. Move my little pot of mint in here, and that might keep him alive a little bit longer. And I got all my greens still going in here. And then back out here in the garden, you can see this clover I planted hasn't really matured. This is the second to the last batch that I planted, and the other batch is right here, and it's only just barely still coming up. So both of those plantings were too late in the season. And let's go over here to the berry patch. My little raspberry plants here. And I think what I'm gonna do is maybe go ahead and lay them down at this point and put leaves on top of them, pull these branches out and get the tarps over the top. So I weighted each plant down with a little rock so I can find them next year. And got the old pile of leaves on there, and I pulled the tarps off on top. Get these rocks off the low tunnel here. Let's see what we got. So the greens are still fine under here for the carrots, so I just pulled a bunch of carrots just from the end here, just to kind of get these out of the way. But take a look at the kale. It's looking nice in here. No droopiness or anything. Looks really nice still. The baby greens didn't freeze. Even the lettuces, which aren't, you know, they're not growing much, but they didn't freeze. And my little pot of mint is doing just fine. So that's cool to see. Okay, so we were getting a little bit of wind and it just blew this plastic off the hoops. Ground's frozen solid. I pulled up a carrot and I don't think it froze. Okay, I got the same amount of rocks on this side that blew off. So I put some more rocks on here, but you can see there's just not much plastic along here to be able to pin down. So anything that lets loose, it just goes like a sail. So I haven't been able to pull out these carrots today, but I'm noticing the ones right here on the edge, at the outer edge of the tunnel, the ground is way frozen here. I may have lost some carrots down in here then, but the ones in here, closer to the inside, oh, shoot, man. I'm able to pull those out and they haven't frozen. Looking out here at the kale, I imagine that's the same thing. Some of those leaves that are right by the edge of the tunnel may not be all right, but the ones on the inside here are fine. And that's 28 degrees Fahrenheit all last night. My plan was to mulch in here amongst the kale with those leaves, but I just didn't have the heart to do it, so I didn't get to it. But yeah, even with the freezing weather out here, I looked at the temperatures. They're actually in the outdoor temperatures right now are about 35, 36, whereas it's like 45 to 50 in those greenhouses right now. So during the day with the sun out, I did want to kind of talk about low tunnels and greenhouses because I've just always hated poly low tunnels. I've never actually, I've used plastic and this and that, but this is the first year I used it on my lettuce, and it really did help with growth. But what I hate about it is that it's kind of a pain to get under and harvest and to weed, and like then in the pathway in between the beds, the weeds just grow up, and you can't, unless you're going to pull the whole thing off, you can't get in there with like a, my wheel hoe and stuff. So I like caterpillar tunnels in that you can kind of get in there, and I've never had a caterpillar tunnel, but you can kind of get in there and work inside of it because you can kind of stand up depending on the dimensions. Yeah, and the weather, if it gets windy, you have to have them set up right. If the snow comes down, I've never dealt with a caterpillar tunnel or a low tunnel in the snow and stuff, but snow piled up, and then you're trying to, I'm going to harvest some stuff. So it's really got me to thinking more, and I've gone back and forth on this, but I have almost certainly decided that I'm going to get a rolling greenhouse for the new area that I cleared out, rather than doing, putting another 10 by 20 foot greenhouse running horizontally along with these other ones, the first and second one here. And that's something I can get through a USDA grant, I think, if they still have that program. So that is my plan. I'm going to do that. And I may even switch these guys out if I can get another greenhouse at some point and have those on rollers so that I can move those, because the one downside of having a greenhouse is that they're fixed in a location, so you don't have as many options for crop rotation. And I don't want to have to be planting my kale and stuff in the same place every single year with the pests that we have, like root maggot fly and caterpillars and things like that. So anyway, let me take you over there real quick and just kind of give you a look-see at what I'm thinking about. Okay, so I'm looking back here at the tunnel and the two greenhouses. And this is the area right here, this whole area here that I cleared last week. And looking back. And so I've got this area, I put all the brush right along here. And originally I had planned, I wanted to put a hugelkultur or berm, put all the brush and down trees and stuff all along this whole boundary, and eventually plant raspberries. Okay, so I run the greenhouse 90 degrees, actually tuck it up against these greenhouses, and then I'll have a little space along this edge to move all that brush. I'm pretty excited about finally, I think, making a decision about what I'm going to do with that area. Greenhouses, folks. So dudes, update on the East Troublesome fire that my family was under pre-evacuation last week. Some people might be interested. That fire spread from about 20,000 acres to over 100,000 acres in one night, and they evacuated that area plus the city of Grand Lake. But just this morning, I learned the utility folks were able to get out to the house, and the woodshed and Jeep and stuff burnt down, but it appears that the driveway surrounding the house kept the house fine. It looks like it's going to be okay. A lot of the houses around them did burn. I feel guilty, but I'm happy that they're going to be fine.